Welcome back, everyone. Here at our channel, we love bringing you stories of science gone wrong, whether it's mad scientists conducting risky experiments or everyday people discovering what happens when they mix household chemicals. Today, we have an extra special treat for you. We're bringing you stories of 10 real experiments that went horribly wrong. Number 10. A deadly elopement. When two lovers decided to elope, they had no idea their wedding would end in disaster. They wanted to do things a bit differently, and opted to have their ceremony in a cave. Unfortunately, they didn't think ahead about how they were going to get out of the cave after they said their vows. And while exchanging rings, the bride accidentally knocked over a nearby lantern. This caused a massive gas leak, which resulted in an explosion. Fire erupted and the couple was trapped inside the cave. Unfortunately, the bride sustained severe burns and died. And when firefighters arrived, they discovered that her groom had also passed away. No, 9. The space that binds us. In the early 1960s, NASA scientists were curious about something. Could space be used as a means of preserving human life? Well, they decided to put that theory to the test. They placed 20 healthy mice into a rocket ship, sealed the doors, and sent them into orbit. While the mission lasted only 3 days, the team waited a full year before opening the spacecraft to see what had happened to the mice. What they found would shock them. All 20 mice had died due to a lack of oxygen. But what shocked the scientists even more was what had happened to their bodies after death. The crew discovered that the mice had decomposed and reassembled themselves in strange ways. Some parts of the mice were missing, while others appeared to have been fused together. To this day, nobody has been able to explain this disturbing discovery. Number 8. Green fire. In 1838, French chemist Jean-Louis Thénard thought he had made a breakthrough in fireworks technology. He believed that by mixing chlorate with some other compounds, he could develop a green-colored flame for fireworks. He mixed the compounds and began testing his theory. He had no idea that the combination of these elements would produce an explosion that could be heard miles away. The explosion was so powerful that it blew off one of his arms, killing him instantly. His head was never recovered, and his body was buried in an unmarked grave. Number 7. The Great Molasses Flood. In Boston in 1919, there was a strange sight to behold. Huge waves of molasses were crashing through the streets, destroying everything in their path. It all started when a storage tank filled with molasses burst. No one was quite sure why the tank had ruptured, but they knew that the flood had to be stopped, so they did the only thing they could. They opened fire on the wave, hoping to stop its progress. Unfortunately, this only made the wave worse. Instead of stopping it, the bullet simply diverted the flood into new areas, causing even more damage. People tried to outrun the flood, but it was too fast and strong, and eventually it came to rest only after traveling over 1 mile. A total of 21 people lost their lives in the flood. Number 6. Toxic kiss. 2 Russian teenagers were tired of being single, so they decided to use science to find love. They bought a book on chemistry and decided to make themselves irresistible by concocting a special perfume. They combined different chemicals based on the instructions in the book and created a fragrance they thought would drive men wild. Fortunately, the pair had no idea what they were doing, and the perfume was extremely toxic. The 2 teens ended up killing themselves. Number 5. Poisoned gas. In the early 1900s, the world was changing. New technologies were emerging, and people were excited about the future. But few were more excited than British scientist Frederick Shipman. He believed that by combining different gases, he could create a deadly poison. He worked tirelessly in his lab, mixing chemicals until he finally created a gas that was odorless and colorless. He thought he had finally done it. He released the gas into the air and waited for the world to end. But nothing happened. Concerned that the gas might not be deadly, he inhaled some just to be sure. It killed him almost instantly. 4. Madman. In 1912, a madman in Japan killed many innocent people. His weapon of choice, poison gas. He had spent years developing a deadly nerve agent that would kill anyone who inhaled it. He then proceeded to release the gas into the streets, killing hundreds of people. The gas was so deadly that it killed people instantly. He continued his rampage for years, killing thousands before finally being caught. But his madness had already spread, and the death toll continues to rise today. No, 3. Deadly dust. In 1938, a group of scientists in the Soviet Union were trying to create a new insecticide. They had no idea that they were about to create a deadly weapon. The insecticide was so powerful that it killed every insect it came into contact with. The scientists were excited about their discovery and began testing it on humans. They had no idea that it would cause massive damage to the lungs and nervous system. One of the scientists inhaled some of the dust and immediately collapsed. He was rushed to the hospital, but it was too late. The dust had already killed him. No. 2. The Green Death. In the 1970s, the world was in the midst of a deadly pandemic. Millions of people were dying and scientists were racing to find a cure. But one scientist had a different idea. He believed that the disease could be used as a weapon. He began experimenting on ways to weaponize the virus, and soon he had created a deadly aerosol that could spread the disease quickly and easily. He then released the virus into the air, hoping to infect as many people as possible. But he had no idea that it would cause a global pandemic. As the virus spread around the world, millions of people died. The scientist was horrified by what he had done and tried to find a cure. But it was too late. The damage had already been done. Number 1. The Invisible Killer. In the early 1900s, a scientist in Germany was trying to create a new dye. He had no idea that he was about to create a deadly poison. The dye was so effective that it killed everything it came into contact with. The scientist was excited about his discovery and began testing it on animals. He had no idea that it would cause massive damage to their DNA. One of the scientists injected some of the dye into himself and immediately collapsed. He was rushed to the hospital, but it was too late. The dye had already killed him. Thanks for watching. Which of these experiments do you think was the most horrifying? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our other videos. And as always, thanks for watching.